Imagine gathering with your family for a rare reunion, surrounded by laughter, old stories, and the comfort of loved ones. Then, in a single moment, you uncover a secret so shocking it rewrites everything you thought you knew about them. Welcome to Shocking Stories, where we peel back the layers of family ties to reveal the chilling truths beneath. Today we're diving into a tale about a woman whose family reunion at a Georgia lake house turned into a nightmare when she discovered her uncle wasn't who he claimed to be. Ever think your family could be hiding a lie this big? Buckle up, because this story will make you question those closest to you. Let's get started. Emma Davis was a 36-year-old graphic designer from Atlanta, Georgia, living in a loft apartment 10 miles from downtown. Her family, scattered across the Southeast, rarely gathered, but when her mother, Susan, organized a reunion at their family's lake house on Lake Lanier, 50 miles northeast of Atlanta, Emma was thrilled. The guest list included her parents, Susan and Mark, her cousins, and her uncle Richard, a 60-year-old accountant who'd always been the quiet, dependable one. The lake house, a sprawling 2-story with a dock 100 feet from the shore, was perfect for a weekend of barbecues and memories. But from the moment Emma arrived, something felt off about Richard. Richard, usually warm and chatty, was distant, avoiding questions about his life in Savannah, 250 miles away. When Emma asked about his recent travels, he changed the subject, his eyes darting to Susan. Emma noticed he hesitated before signing the guest book, as if unsure of his own name. That night, as the family gathered around a bonfire 200 feet from the house, Richard slipped away early, claiming a headache. Emma's cousin, Lauren, whispered, "He's been weird since Aunt Clara died." Clara, Richard's wife, had passed 10 years ago, and Richard had grown reclusive since. Emma couldn't shake the feeling he was hiding something. What would you do if a family member started acting like a stranger at a reunion? The next morning, while exploring the lake house, Emma climbed to the attic, a dusty space filled with old furniture and boxes. She found a trunk labeled Clara, containing letters, photos, and a yellowed newspaper clipping from 1985 about a bank robbery in Macon, 80 miles south of Atlanta. The article named a suspect, Frank Walsh, who'd served 15 years in prison. A photo showed a man with Richard's eyes and jawline. Emma's heart raced. Was Richard Frank Walsh? A letter in Clara's handwriting, dated 2000, read, "Richard, I know your secret. We'll keep it buried." Emma's hands shook. Had Clara known her husband was a criminal? She pocketed the letter and clipping, determined to uncover the truth. Emma confided in Lauren, who lived 30 miles away in Gainesville and had always been close to Richard. Lauren was skeptical, but admitted Richard's stories about his past, growing up in Savannah, meeting Clara, never added up. "He essayed family photos," Lauren said. Emma decided to dig deeper, searching online for Frank Walsh. She found a parole record from 2000, noting Walsh's release and a new identity under a witness protection program. The timing matched Richard's move to Savannah. Emma's stomach churned. Her uncle might be an imposter. That evening, she noticed Richard watching her from the dock, 100 feet from the house, his expression unreadable. A text from an unknown number buzzed, "Stop digging." Ever feel like you've uncovered a family secret you weren't meant to find? Let's see what Emma does next. You ever feel like you're staring at a family member, wondering if you really know them? That's where Emma was, holding a letter that suggested her uncle wasn't just hiding a past. He might not be her uncle at all. A family reunion meant to bring everyone together was unraveling, and someone wanted her to stop asking questions. Welcome back to Shocking Stories, where we're diving deeper into a lake house mystery that's as chilling as it gets. Ready to see what Emma uncovers? Because this story's about to take a deadly turn. What would you do if you suspected a relative was an imposter? Emma's first step was to confirm Richard's identity. She contacted a friend, Jake, a private investigator based 40 miles away in Athens, Georgia. Jake pulled records on Frank Walsh, confirming he'd been convicted of a 1985 bank robbery in Macon, stealing $150,000 with an accomplice who was never caught. Walsh's parole in 2000 included a new identity, but his alias wasn't listed. Jake found a photo of Walsh from 1985. It was Richard, younger but unmistakable. Emma's heart sank. The letter from Clara suggested she'd known, but why hadn't she told the family? Emma searched the attic again, finding a hidden envelope with a key and a note in Clara's handwriting. For Richard's truth, check the safe in Macon. Emma and Lauren drove to Macon, 80 miles south, to investigate. The address on the note led to a storage unit 5 miles from downtown. The key opened a safe containing a fake ID with Richard's photo under the name Frank Walsh, a burner phone, and a ledger listing payments to someone labeled C. Emma's mind raced. Was C the accomplice? She checked the burner phone, finding texts from 2010. Keep quiet or the family pays. Emma's hands shook. Richard wasn't just hiding, he was being blackmailed. Back at the lake house, she noticed Richard avoiding her, sticking close to Susan. During dinner, Emma caught him slipping a pill into Susan's wine, her mother growing drowsy minutes later. Was he drugging her to keep her quiet? Emma confronted Lauren, who'd seen Richard arguing with a man by the lake the previous night, 100 feet from the house. Lauren described the man as tall, with a scar on his cheek, someone she didn't recognize. Emma sent Jake a description, and he linked it to Carl Evans, a known associate of Walsh's from the 80s, recently spotted in Georgia. Jake warned Emma, if Carl's back, Richard's in trouble, and so are you. Emma decided to tail Richard, noticing he left the house at midnight, driving 10 miles to a gas station. She followed, parking 200 feet away, and saw him meet Carl, their voices low but tense. Carl handed Richard a bag, and Richard looked terrified. Emma snapped a photo, but her flash went off, catching Carl's attention. He stared right at her. Ever get that feeling you've been caught digging too deep? Let's see what happens next. Emma sped back to the lake house, her heart pounding. She showed Jake the photo, who confirmed Carl was the accomplice from the 1985 robbery, likely blackmailing Richard to stay silent. Jake urged Emma to go to the police, but she needed to protect her family first. She checked on Susan, who was groggy but safe, and hid the letter and ID in her suitcase. The next morning, Richard cornered her in the kitchen, his voice low. "You're asking too many questions, Emma." His eyes were cold, nothing like the uncle she'd known. Emma played dumb, but her hands shook. She needed to find out who Richard really was, before Carl or Richard made a move. You ever feel like you're standing in the middle of a family you don't recognize, where every smile hides a lie? That's where Emma was, clutching proof her uncle was living a double life with a dangerous man circling and her family in the crosshairs. A letter, a fake ID, and a reunion turned deadly. Time was running out. Welcome back to Shocking Stories, where we're about to uncover the final twist in a tale that shattered a family. Ready for the shock of a lifetime? Because this one's going to hit you hard. What would you do if you learned a loved one was an imposter? Emma and Jake took the evidence to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, meeting Agent Lisa Torres in Gainesville, 15 miles from the lake house. Torres confirmed Frank Walsh had entered witness protection in 2000, taking the name Richard Davis to escape Carl Evans, who'd threatened to kill him for keeping the robbery's loot. The real Richard Davis, Emma's uncle, had died in a car accident in 1984, and Walsh had assumed his identity, marrying Clara to blend into the family. Emma's world collapsed. Her uncle was a fraud, living her real uncle's life. Torres set up a sting to catch Carl, but warned Emma, Walsh is desperate. He might run, or worse. Emma returned to the lake house, her family unaware of the truth. She confronted Richard by the dock, 100 feet from the house, holding the fake ID. "You're not my uncle," she said, her voice shaking. Richard's face crumpled. "I never meant to hurt you," he said, admitting he'd taken Richard's identity to escape Carl. He'd loved Clara, who'd kept his secret, but Carl had tracked him down, demanding the hidden $100,000. Richard swore he'd protected the family, but Emma didn't trust him. As they argued, Carl emerged from the trees, a gun in hand. "You should have stayed quiet," he snarled, aiming at Emma. Emma screamed, diving behind a boat as Richard tackled Carl. The gun fired, grazing Richard's arm, and the two men fought, rolling toward the lake's edge. Emma grabbed a paddle, swinging it at Carl's head, knocking him out. Jake, who'd followed her, called 911, and police swarmed the scene, arresting Carl and detaining Richard. Torres revealed the twist. Richard had hidden the robbery money in the lake house attic, planning to flee if Carl got too close. The family was devastated. Susan collapsed, unable to process the betrayal. Richard, now Frank Walsh, was charged with identity theft and fraud, though he cooperated against Carl, who faced murder charges for another crime. Emma and her family sold the lake house, unable to return. She moved 300 miles to Charlotte, North Carolina, haunted by the reunion. The worst part? The money was never found, and Emma wonders if Richard left another secret behind. So here's the question. Could you forgive a family member who wasn't who they claimed? This is Shocking Stories, and we're just getting started. Hit that like button if this gave you chills, and subscribe for more heart-pounding tales. Comment below. What would you do if you found an imposter in your family? Share this video, because sometimes the biggest lies are told by those you call family.